All right, we'd like to call this Lafayette Parish Council meeting to order. At this time, I'd like to ask Councilman A.B. Rubin to lead us in a prayer, and also at that time, I'd like to ask Councilman Gilbo to lead us in the pledge.
Dear Lord, we come to you this evening, and we give you all the praise and glory, Father. Father, on this evening, we'd like to thank you for presenting us with people like Dr. Martin Luther King, who fought for equal rights so that a person like myself can sit amongst his colleagues as one to do the right things for our community. On this evening, Father, we come to you and we ask you to give us the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding, so that way when we leave this meeting, it'll be a much better meeting. And we ask you this through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Please join with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Councilman A.B. Rubin, and thank you, Councilman Gilbo. Appreciate it very much. Hope everyone had a great day. Thank y'all so much for attending the Lafayette Parish Council meeting. We welcome you to the meeting here tonight. As presiding officer and chair, I'd like to make the following announcements. This is a public hearing to address the council on any item on this agenda. We ask that you please fill out the request form and please submit it to our clerk prior to the call of the agenda item. If that is not done, then you will not be given an opportunity to speak. Staff assistance is available if needed. Items for submission to the council should be handed to Council Clerk Ms. Veronica Williams, who's seated to my left and in the middle. When addressing the council, please state your name and title for the official record. We do have a 5-minute rule that is in effect. There will be no debating or confrontational statements that will be allowed. The front row is to my left for media only. Food and drinks are not allowed in the auditorium. We ask you at this time to please silence all cell phones and electronic devices. Meeting procedures are by resolution and not by Robert's Rules of Order. All documents with reference to the meetings can be found on our LCG website. And finally, the council does encourage your involvement in boards and commissions. If you are interested in a board or commission, we ask that you call 337-291-8800. Moving on to chair announcements. Item number 10, PO-002-2020, relative to a new sewage grinder, has a proposed amendment to increase the appropriation amount to $700,000 from $650,000. Also, announcement: there will be a special joint meeting of the Lafayette Parish Council and the City of Lafayette following this meeting. Moving right along to council announcements. Is there anybody? Councilman Rubin, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, on this evening, I would like to recognize Jamie Miller and our first responder. He's a law officer, and on Friday night, I witnessed him perform life-saving CPR. All I did was held a check for a pulse, and he performed CPR successfully on a young lady who had stopped breathing 3 times on us. He was very calm. I was nervous as all get out. And I want to commend first responders for teaching their employees CPR, because if not for that, no telling what would have happened to that young lady on that night. So Jamie Miller, first responder, resource officer, thank you very much.
Any other council announcements? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move right along. At this time, I would like to move to the Executive Mayor's President's Report. I'd like to recognize our Mayor President Guillory. Got you.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Council members, public, just know how much of an honor it is to serve as your mayor president. And I don't have too much to opine on the parish agenda, but I do have an announcement to make. I am very pleased to announce the first ever in Lafayette Consolidated Government's history, Chief of Minority Affairs, Mr. Carlos Harvin.
Cool.
Thank you.
Would Carlos like to come up, or you like to say a few words? Or?
He always would like to say a few words. No,
Okay. Just want to give you the mic, sir. You have an opportunity to speak.
And Mr. Chair, we appreciate this opportunity. Thank you.
You're welcome.
A preacher and a public servant, so that's double trouble, right? No, but I want to thank Mayor President Josh Guillory for this wonderful opportunity to serve the people of Lafayette. It's great being a part of the team, and I look forward to working very closely with our parish council and with all of our great people. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
That's it? Okay.
That's it.
All right. Moving right along, we're going to now go to comments from the public. And at this time, we'd like to check with Ms. Williams if we have any speakers or comments.
Yes, sir. We do have one speaker signed in for comments from the public, Roddy Bergeron.
Also, I need to make this announcement. This is the time to speak about topics that are not included on the agenda items. You're reminded that there's a 5-minute rule that's in effect. No debating or confrontational statements will be allowed. And you got the floor, sir.
For your time tonight. My name is Roddy Bergeron, and I'm a resident of District 4. As president-elect of the 705, I'm here tonight along with our president, Melissa Llewellyn, to help raise awareness about our organization. The 705 is Acadiana's premier young leadership organization, and our goal is to help the young leaders of Acadiana connect, engage, and lead. Our members include over 300 active young men and women, all from different walks of life and different industries, yet we share in our dedication to Acadiana. We are dedicated because we know our parish faces big issues, and we want to help fix them. One of the biggest issues plaguing our young professional population is that our best and brightest are leaving. We hope that you, the Parish Council, will join us in helping combat the systemic brain drain going on. One way we can keep our young professionals in our parish is to get them involved in local government. Yet motivating young people to engage in local government is not an easy task, and this is where we need your help in removing that barrier. The 705 has an overall goal of increasing civic engagement in our community, and this is just one way we can do that. With a new Parish Council, we believe now is the time to reach out. The 705 would like to offer an open invitation to all of our Parish Council members and to Mayor President Josh Guillory to attend any of our events and to be our guest speaker at one of our monthly Coffee With series. And of course, we'd like to invite the public to all of our monthly social and member meetings. Some of our upcoming meetings include a Big Brothers Big Sisters event this Thursday, January 23rd, at the Big Brothers office, a January 30th event at Rockin' Bowl, where we celebrate our ambassador program, and February 5th, our Coffee With for February with Hollis Conway at ACA. I ask that you please reach out to me at any time at roddy@the705.org. You can also find a list of all of our upcoming events on our Facebook page, and we look forward to meeting with you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Councilman Gilbo, you have the floor.
Roddy, thanks for your presentation, and certainly I would ask that you make these dates and these events available to Veronica, our clerk, and she can send those out to us, and so we can be put on notice. Thanks, Roddy, appreciate it.
Okay. Any other speakers? That was it? All right. Moving right along, now we'll move to ceremonial presentation. Jeremy, can you please read?
Recognition, Acadiana High football team state champions.
All right. Okay. All right. At this time, I'd like to recognize Acadiana High football team state champions. What an honor and a privilege to have such a great accomplishment here in Lafayette Parish, and very proud of Acadiana High School. I'm definitely a graduate of Acadiana High School, so I'm a little extra connected, so to speak. And what I have here is a proclamation and a plaque, and I'll go ahead and read the proclamation and then present you guys with the plaque. Whereas on Saturday, December 14, 2019, the Acadiana High football team, Wrecking Rams, won the 2019 Class 5A Louisiana High School Athletic Association Championship in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. And whereas the championship game featured Acadiana High School football team versus Desterham High School football team with the final score 8-3. It's not baseball or it was football, 8-3, all right? Don't want nobody to get confused. And whereas the Acadiana High school football team had a record of 15 wins and no losses during their 2019 season, which set a school record. And whereas the Acadiana High school football team made history by appearing in 7 state final games and winning 5 state championships during this time. And whereas the Acadiana High school football team, the Wrecking Rams, were nationally ranked 129th and ranked number 1st in the state. And whereas the Wrecking Rams running back Dylan Monette received the award for most valuable player for this game. And whereas under the leadership of head coach Matt McCullough and his assistant coaches, Kyle Seabold, Jordan Romero, Cedric Figueroa, Clay Courtier, Kevin Bellard, Alonzo Williams, Ryan Tabb, Connor Bro, Trace Sutton, Ronald Gunner, Jimmy Hensel, Cade Dawes, Drew Bergeron, George Harris, Justin Ligon, Mitchell Vidrine, and athletic trainer Kyle Lanson have built this program. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Knocking, Lafayette Parish Council Chair, District 2, do hereby proclaim this 21st day of January 2020 as Acadiana High School Wrecking Ram Football Day. Congratulations. Yeah, we'll come up and then, Coach Matt, if you want to say a few words at the mic, right there, you can.
Yeah, first off, I want to thank y'all for bringing us here and that honor. You know, this team, first off, the team worked extremely hard. You know, it's hard to win every football game you play, but what people don't understand is we started in January, and this group of kids had a great work ethic, and they worked all the way from January all the way to December, and then of course you can't do that without having a great coaching staff, and I've said this a bunch of times, but I think we have the best assistant coaches in the state of Louisiana. I'm not talking about myself, but we have a great coaching staff. We have a great administration at Acadiana High School that allows us to be successful. So, you know, I'm just proud of this group. Proud of the team. You know, first team to go 15-0 is a big thing for us. Of course, the main goal is to win the state championship, and we were able to accomplish that. You know, this group actually was one of the first groups that hadn't been back to the state championship, so they kind of set out on a mission to get back there and then win it. So, you know, we're proud of them and really excited that they were able to finish and accomplish the goal, and really thank y'all for bringing us up here today, because it's a great honor. So appreciate it.
No problem. I'll tell you what's so awesome about it is that my high school baseball coach was Matt's father, Scott McCullough. And so when I was a senior, Matt was a sophomore, and so we got to hang out on the field together and play ball. And you know, it's something when your father is a legend at that school, and he has been there so long, and then Matt follows in the footsteps and went to Como and actually coached against Acadiana for a while, and you know, and then to find himself back at Acadiana, and then, you know, head football coach, and to go win a state championship as a football head coach. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think your father had won a state championship as a head football coach, right?
No, he was an assistant, but for the first two that we won, he was there. He retired in, I believe, 12. So, you know, he was there for the first 2 state championships, but he was the assistant. He was the offensive coach, running backs coach.
That's right. So it's bittersweet for me because it's great tradition, and I think Matt is a great coach, and all of the assistants. I know Justin Ligon, I know several of them. I didn't play football, but I know the passion that runs in his blood, and I'm very happy for you. I'm happy for the school. I'm happy for the coaches and the players, and I look forward to giving one of these out maybe again next year. So I'm going to be pushing for you.
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Okay, I'm going to come down and take a picture with you guys and present you with the plaque. Council members, y'all have anything y'all want to say? Good Mayor President, you want to say anything? I'm sure you do.
What's that supposed to mean? Well, as a husband of someone that graduated from Acadiana High, Wrecking Rams, so congratulations. The whole city and parish is very proud of you, and I like what you said, Mr. Chair. Let's go win another one next year.
Absolutely. You have the floor, Mr. Rubin.
Hey, I know it made you so great. You went to Como and coach for a little while.
Come on, man.
Hey, man, I got to get my school in there a little bit, man.
You're right.
No, but seriously speaking, congratulations. You know, and I'm kind of like you, Mayor President. My wife and I, we still have the same debate in the house because she graduated from Acadiana also.
Some good people, Acadiana. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I had a few tough years at Como. It helped me a bunch. So.
You got the floor. You still got the floor. Good.
Councilman Rubin, who wins those debates?
To be honest, happy wife, happy life.
All right. Congratulations, Acadiana football.
Good deal.
Thank y'all. We really appreciate it. Want to bring them all up? Yeah. Jen.
What's up, Caesar?
Congratulations. Congratulations. Coach Matt, I have a comment for you. I know y'all whooped up on my Southside Sharks this year, but we're going to stand in y'all way next year from that state championship.
Hey,
Congratulations.
Matt, you don't have to answer him. You don't have to answer him. Got you with all the family. All right. Yeah. Good. Nice to see you. Thank y'all for coming. Appreciate it. You know, remarkable season by Acadiana High, and then you got the Tigers on top of that. I tell you what, 215-0. I mean, it's we got some good talent in Lafayette Parish for sure. And UL, absolutely. All right. Now we're done with the sports part of the meeting. We're gonna move right along into We're going to move right along to resolutions, and I'd like to announce that this is a public hearing and blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. 5-minute rule does apply. Jeremy, can you please read?
Parish Resolution 2, 2020, a resolution of the Lafayette Parish Council authorizing a non-warranty cash sale of the property at 1212 General Mouton Avenue to an adjoining landowner pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 47-2202B for the price of the sale's anticipated costs.
Okay, I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilman Gilbo and a second by Councilman, Carlson. I just went blank. Okay, any council discussion? Okay, seeing none. Any public comment? Yes, sir. Okay, please call the roll.
District 1?
Wait,
Mr. Chair.
you have it?
Well, am I too late?
No, I can go back. Okay, hit your button. Okay, council discussion, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I think Ms. Danielle Bro is prepared to give us just a brief overview of what the whole program is all about and how it works. I think it would be helpful to us to better understand what we're
That's
hearing
right.
for the first time. So, thanks, Danielle.
baby signaled me. I forgot about it. You did want to say that.
That's all right. Daniel Rowe, Development and Planning. Since this is the first meeting and first ones where we've got adjudicated property, just a quick overview, because you'll see this come up time and time again on your agendas. So LCG has a disposition ordinance that was introduced in 2015 that identified a process by which adjudicated properties could be disposed to qualified applicants as permitted by state law. To clarify, an adjudicated property means immovable property within Lafayette Parish that has been adjudicated for non-payment of taxes and has been bid in at state tax either for the city of Lafayette or the parish of Lafayette. It should be clarified that adjudicated properties are not owned by the city of Lafayette or by Lafayette Parish. And these properties continue to sit on the tax rolls with growing balances of taxes due, penalties, and interest year after year. So the process is administered by the Department of Development and Planning. So in conjunction with this ordinance, we also have a separate ordinance that authorizes the signing of a local services agreement between various taxing entities with property taxes, authorizing LCG to waive liens on the behalf of those entities to facilitate the disposition of adjudicated properties, thus relieving the applicant of these liens. The disposition process, whether by sale or donation, goes through the council to authorize disposition of any adjudicated property. The disposition provides for a non-warranty of the taxes. What this means is it does not get a clean title at the end of the process. So what we do is we have applicants that come into our office. We have a list of the adjudicated properties. And just so you know, we have about 1,448 properties in Lafayette Parish today, and that number continues to grow each year. So applicants come into our office, they pay for all of the legal fees that go into all the noticing requirements that go into taking these properties. It takes a period of 6 to 9 months for them to get a property through the process and meet all of our regulations. But again, comes to council first for you all to give them the okay to move forward in that process. And then they start down that path of all the noticing requirements. It does require that they provide a renovation plan. And so to date, with the ones that you'll see on the agenda tonight, we'll have moved 38 through the process. Again, that's only 2% of the total, but it's 38 more than we've ever moved forward in the process before. Again, just some stats on adjudicated properties in the area. The majority of the properties are located within city districts 1 and 5. 900 of these are land with no structures on them. The balances of them are land with structures, and in some cases, the properties are actually occupied, and that's where we have some airship issues that are more complicated to work through. In some instances, some of these properties have been adjudicated for 10, 15, and sometimes 20 years or more. So some of them can be very complicated legally and can be a large legal expense to actually get through this process. What our disposition ordinance allows, obviously redemption is first. So the process is very stringent on the noticing because it is trying to find all the heirs of that property to make sure that is trying to find those rightful owners to make sure that there's no one in the, that owns that property that would want the property. After that, we can do a sale to an adjoining landowner. That's coming to you as a resolution. So those are those first 2 resolutions that you'll actually see on your agenda tonight. So it's someone that lives next door. Typically in those cases, it's somebody that's just looking to expand their green space, and they're going to actually care for the yard. So what happens is a lot of times we've got liens on those properties. We've got Public Works taking care of the grass. So those liens get washed from that property. But again, now we've got somebody that's actually going to pay the taxes on the property taxes on that property and will no longer have to be mowing the lawn for those properties. We also have donations of properties, of adjudicated properties to nonprofits. And in these instances, it's Habitat and the likes of those entities. You've got 2 properties that you'll see as ordinances tonight or that are being introduced on your agenda, and that's to Holy Family. So they are actually looking to expand their campus. Again, Habitat will come forward and do those as residential. We also do sale and public bids that come forward as resolutions. Those don't come forward as frequently to you all, and arm's length transfer that comes forward as resolutions. So tonight, what I've also asked is that our attorney, Ryan Gowdlock, who is kind of our expert in the field, this is an incredibly complicated process. So he's here if you have any technical questions. He won't be at every meeting that these come up, but we will certainly notify you if there's one in your district that's coming up prior to the meeting. And if you have anyone in your district that's interested in going through the process, please don't hesitate to reach out to us in the department, and we can certainly walk through the process. We are working through some other pilots to see if we can maybe do some more community initiatives with community development and planning, where we can go out with the tax assessor and the tax collecting agencies and do a more front-end approach where we can explain to the community how this process works and maybe see if we can drive some interest that way as well. But again, Mr. Gowdlock's here if you have any technical questions regarding the matter.
Danielle, I appreciate the presentation, and I know the hard work that you and staff put into this. And I know many times people question, well, we have 1,400 plus adjudicated properties out there, and why so slow? And I think you've adequately explained tonight, you know, just going through all the legal hoops that we've got to go through to make this happen. And we've got to cross the T's and dot the I's to make sure that we're on legal firm standing. So I do appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see more of these. And again, it's putting that property back into service within the community where it can generate the taxes and so forth. And it doesn't become that blight where you've got rodents and everything else, and drug activities being hidden in the long grasses and so forth. So I appreciate it. As much as we can, let's continue to push forward, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Rubin.
Okay, I too, excuse me, am glad that you're putting these properties back into circulation. My question is, when you're doing these donations to these nonprofits, how do you determine which one is going to get it? Do they have to come with some type of a plan first, or how does that work?
They put forward an application to our office, and they do have to put a renovation plan forward to let us know what they are doing with the property. And so right now, because of the legal costs that they have to incur to go through the process, we're not inundated with applications. So right now, it's pretty much first come, first serve, and we don't have competing applications at this point.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Carlson.
Yeah, Ms. Burrow, what's the average anticipated cost for purchase?
It depends on the airship issues that are embedded in the properties, but typically where there's light airship issues in terms of not that much research that has to go in and not that much noticing that has to go in, they're probably anywhere from $2,500 to $7,500 per property that we are finding that people are having to spend on legal fees to get through this process.
You know, Danielle, I've been on the council for a while. We put this plan in motion, and I can tell you it has paid dividends. I definitely support the program, definitely want to continue. I think you're doing an excellent job. I know firsthand I had a constituent that had been cutting the grass next door for 20 years and was always trying to figure out, you know, how can he acquire the land since he's taking care of it. And, you know, it was a long process. He waited, I'd say 3-4 years before we can actually figure it out. But once we put this in play, it seems like it's a little bit quicker. And I just overall, I think it's a great thing. So I commend y'all for doing it. And, you know, definitely if there's people out there that are hearing this and have questions, or they might be maintaining someone's lot next to them and been doing it for years and don't know who owns it, why is it up, and I think they should, who would they need to call to get the ball rolling?
Kathy Gilbert, who's our planning manager, or they can call my office at the director's office, and we can get them in touch with planning and with the planning office.
Okay, and that's where they can find out who the whole process.
Absolutely, we'll get them in touch, and we'll get with Conrad's office and check all the
check all the boxes.
Absolutely, start down the path.
Got you. Okay, Councilman Gilbo.
Ms. Burrow, I wish there was more competing applications on file right now.
We do too.
And that day will come, and I think the more that we can promote this program and get the community involved and make the awareness level higher, I think it will begin to happen. But I think we're off to a good start. Let's just keep moving in the right direction. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you too.
Councilman Rubin.
Okay, Kevin, you say something interesting right there. Someone's cutting someone's property for a length of time. you know, like you said, man was cutting for 20 years. I mean, isn't that some type of a
It's
legality
with-
law?
With this ordinance, it's 1 year. So if you're caring for a property for 1 year, you sign an affidavit as part of the application, and that's all that you have to be able to prove that you've been caring for that property for 1 year. But again, you have to take care of the legal fees that go into the noticing and that
Right.
piece of it, so.
So it's better just cut the property and use the property.
Well, I don't know if you could use the property, but you, you definitely want to cut the grass, for sure.
Danielle, I think.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I just want to clarify. Mr. Rubin, I'm Ryan Gowdlock. I assist Ms. Bro and Ms. Gilbert and her staff with legal questions that arise, like the one you just asked. I think where you're going, what you're thinking about is acquisitive prescription. If you're squatting on land after a period of time, you end up owning it. This process is designed to get as title as clear as possible, and to, if possible, as Danielle said, redemption's always favored. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through to make sure that you locate and do your best efforts to notice folks who may be related to the owners, descended from the owners, because there's a lot of succession issues, typically not opened successions. So the goal is to get it back into commerce, preferably in the hands of the folks who own it. But if that doesn't happen, then the title that they get through in the process is it's different from what you're thinking of, but it does give you the best title you're going to get through this process. So that wasn't going to, the prescription question wasn't going to jump out to Ms. Bro. So
And in my constituent's case, it was, you know, waiting on the parish to go cut the grass. And then by the time they send the notice, and then it was blighting his property. So he said, you know what, I'm going to just cut the grass myself. But over time, you know, so basically 1 year, you got to show that you have been maintaining a property. That at least starts the process,
Yes.
and then you go through the rest. Okay. I'm not seeing any other discussion at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
gentlemen.
appreciate it. Okay. Any comments from the public? We good? Okay, now go ahead and call the roll.
District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5? Yes. Motion to adopt is approved. Parish Resolution 3, 2020, a resolution of the Lafayette Parish Council authorizing a non-warranty cash sale of the property at 111 Nottingham Circle to an adjoining landowner pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 472202B for the price of the sale's anticipated costs, and consenting to a sale to an employee of Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government.
Okay, need a motion in a second. Motion by Councilman Gilbo, second by Councilman A.B. Rubin. Any council discussion? Seeing none. Any public comment, Ms. Williams? No. Okay, please call the roll.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 1? Yes. Motion to adopt is approved.
Okay, now we're going to move to ordinances for final adoption. This is a public hearing, and blue sheets are available for anyone wishing to address the council. There is a 5-minute rule that does apply. Chairman, can you please read?
Parish Ordinance 1, 2020, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 1920 operating budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by transferring $77,500 from reserve operating to individual operating expense accounts within the budget of the Lafayette Parish Council.
All right, I need a motion and a second. Got a motion by Councilman Carlson and a second by Councilman Tabor. Any council discussion? Any public comment, Ms. Williams? Okay, please call the roll.
District 3,
Yes.
District 4,
Yes.
District 5,
Yes.
District 1, District 2?
Yes.
Motion to adopt is approved. Parish Ordinance 2, 2020, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council amending the fiscal year 1920 capital budget of the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government by increasing the use of prior year fund balance in the Courthouse Complex Fund in the amount of $650,000 and appropriating within the Adult Correctional Center for a new sewage grinder due to a lapse of appropriation per Section 5-07 in the Lafayette City Parish Consolidated Government Home Rule Charter.
All right, need a motion and a second to consider. Motion by Councilman Carlson, second by Councilman Tabor. Just let everyone know, Finance has requested an amendment to increase the appropriation amount to $700,000 from $650,000. I need a motion and a second for the proposed amendment. Motion by Councilman Tabor, second by Councilman A.B. Rubin on the amendment. Any council discussion on the amendment? Councilman Carlson, you have the floor, sir.
Ms. Toops, do you know when money was first appropriated for this project?
Oh. Okay, gotcha.
I moved here in 2011, and this was a project that was discussed way back then. There's been a lot of issues at the jail and
Really?
with the sewer capacity in the downtown area. So it has taken this long. It's been budgeted and lapsed and budgeted and lapsed. I think we're finally ready to move on it. Note that these ordinances don't usually come from finance. This was happening during the transition, and I was trying to facilitate it. I do see the warden is here, and she may have more information.
Would you like to
for me.
come up and give us a little insight?
Good evening, Major of Corrections Paula Smith. It began in 2009, 2010 is when it was first introduced.
Wow.
Yes. And I stated that before I retired, I was going to get this sewage grinder.
So.
You've got a year
but
left, gentlemen.
Without saying any names or throwing administrations under the bus, what has taken so long? Why has it been in the budget and then taken out or not approved?
Basically, it started with the engineering area, trying to facilitate using LUS's engineering and getting with the Public Works Department, and it's just snowballing.
Wow. Seems like a long time.
Yes, it's a huge project.
Absolutely. So
Very
the
huge
right
project.
hand and the left hand, they were.
Correct. And you're talking about a system that has no grinder, currently. So we're constantly battling with an overflow. You've got an inmate population that is flushing anything and everything they can through the sewage system. So with this project, we're hopefully going to relieve the plumbing system.
So are the engineers and everybody, are we all talking on the same page this time? Are we going to approve this money and it's going to sit?
And yes.
It's actually been bid out this time. We finally got so far as to get it out for bid.
Okay.
What happened was that the deadline for it to lapse just happened to be October 31st, 2019. And so
Okay.
we just missed it by a few.
We missed it, and that gave the 3-year rule from the Home Rule Charter. So we have to go back before you in order to retrieve the monies back. And now I'm understanding the $50,000 is in reference to the lowest bidder, has bailed out in reference to his quote. He is not basically extending his quote, till the project starts. So it's been taking this long.
Gotcha. I have some other council members that'd like to
Can I
speak.
finish though?
Sure.
Oh, you still got the floor.
Yeah, just one more
I'm
question.
sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Ms. Toops, so I'd requested the numbers. It looks like for the courthouse complex, fund balance is expected to be about, I don't know, right at $5 million. Will this decrease it to $4.3 million? Or since this money was already appropriated, I guess my question is this $700,000 included in the $5 million expected fund balance for the courthouse complex?
The 650 was included.
Okay, so we're talking about $50,000 difference. Okay, so we should roughly end up with $4.3 million fund balance for the courthouse complex after this project?
Yes.
Okay,
That's after all the projects are done, because remember, they won't all finish in the
right.
fiscal year.
I know it's expected at the end of this year, that's the fund balance expected at the end of this fiscal year.
If all the capital projects were to magically get done in 1 year. So
Okay,
Magically.
we know that that never happens.
That
They
doesn't
always
happen.
cross over.
okay.
Yeah, don't
Doesn't
take that
happen.
for,
This one's taken 10 years, so.
yeah. Okay, are you done, Mr. Carlson? Okay. Councilman Tabor, you have the floor, sir.
I just want to get on the record, this is my trade background, and I said, well, that's a lot of money. But I did a lot of studying, talked with the engineers, and I don't want to delay it anymore because I'm afraid the price is going to go up again. So I think, I did get some other pricing just from people I know, and from what I understand, we're getting a deal. So it's hard to believe that, but we are.
Cool. Councilman Gibble.
Madam Warden, what's the time frame for the installation? if approval goes forth tonight?
Approval, usually it takes 90 days for them to start the project, and then, of course, it's going to take several months for them to start. They've got to start actually from the road on coming backwards in through the sewage system.
Just in the way of a comment to you and Sheriff Garber, as you know, I did visit the facility.
Yes, sir.
It's a
Thank you.
antiquated facility. It's not current. And I
Correct.
really compliment y'all for what y'all have done. I can only imagine the damage that has been done over the years because we have not had that grinder in place. Probably enough overhead costs to have purchased several of these, would be my guess. So
I
as
would
soon as
agree
we
with you.
can, let's move and let's get it in place, and hopefully we can stop some of that shenanigan going on in that jailhouse.
Yes, sir.
But congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, not seeing any other council discussion. Ms. Williams, do we have any comment on the, public comment on the amendment? Okay, well, let's go ahead and call the vote on the actual amendment being offered.
District 4?
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
Motion to amend is approved.
Okay,
Thank you.
council discussion on the ordinance as amended? Seeing none. Ms. Williams, any comment or any public comment on the amendment, on the ordinance as amended? No? Okay. Please call the vote for the ordinance as amended.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
Motion to adopt as amended is approved.
Okay, we'll move right along into introductory ordinances. I'd like to ask for a motion in a second from the council to introduce items 11 and 12 in global.
So moved.
Got a motion by Councilman Gilbo, second by Councilman Tabor. Any public comment, Ms. Williams? Okay, can you please read, Jeremy?
Parish Ordinance 4, 2020, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council authorizing the Lafayette Mayor President to enter into an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Lafayette, the Parish of Lafayette, to permit the Parish of Lafayette to utilize equipment owned by the City of Lafayette in connection with cooperative endeavor agreements for firefighting services within the unincorporated areas of the Parish of Lafayette. Parish Ordinance 5, 2020, an ordinance of the Lafayette Parish Council authorizing the non-warranty donation of the adjudicated properties at 139 South Bienville Street and 213 South Bienville Street to Holy Family School pursuant to Louisiana Revised Statute 472205.
Okay. Go ahead and call for the vote. Wait, I asked earlier, any public comment? No? Okay. Go ahead and call for the vote to introduce in global.
District 5?
Yes.
District 1?
Yes.
District 2?
Yes.
District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
Motion to introduce in globo is approved.
Okay, great. Just council announcements. I'm going to go back to chairman announcement. I wanted the public to know that as chair and vice chair and that Mr. Gilbo and I and council members will be asking those millages that are 100% overseen by the new parish council. We're going to start reaching out to those to come out here and give administration and this council a quick rundown of what each millage is doing, what's the expenses, what's the operating expenses, what's the revenue it's bringing in, what's the purpose, and what's the goal in the future. So myself and Ms. Williams is working on that, and you should start seeing in the future just a quick 10, 15-minute presentation from those parish millages, so we as a council and administration can get a better understanding and operation of exactly what are the millages doing, what's the expenses, the operating, what's the revenue, just so we can get a better understanding of the operation. I think it's important at this parish council and as chair and vice chair that we start educating the public and having the audience and everybody out there get a true understanding of what this millage does for us, what operations, what does it pay for, what does it cover. So I just wanted to make that announcement. I didn't do that earlier, but we are in the process of that. So just stay tuned and we'll be in touch. Okay? Meeting adjourned.